Menteri Rangba ke Jylla Meghalaya Konrad Kongkal Sangma habai keren begino bathai kubor. Ulong bagajing penkelat hema ya ke tourism policy kedai namar bagalarem nadu kesenam arazar katway. Bat gajing penkelat hema ya kene gamat Treikam kalong da gajing temu benai kamai jakpo basirta ya kipat ba ke Jylla. Ulong bon ke aka kilajah kakam jengok kai nraikim shimlayat pat akelenti ke bedai. Kumta Lyngba kene ke polisi en penwandur bhai kikam kijam kat kum gajing dan kam kenang bakakam jengok kai kan kieu irat. Menteri Rangba ulong baga polisi kan kemi kumno ban pentiknai ke jeng ai kam ai jam ban penmi yiginong sengkam bat ban pentiknaru bagi traisnong kini dan bentalang habarok kikam kijam. Ban pendan kam iki kor kibor ban kentiu kikam jengok kai perthai bat bandan kejing trailang hapedeng jang kitenat boper bat bandan kejing singan jang kinong jengok kai kibawan sya ke Jylla.
Tourism policy that we've created. The idea is really to give a proper shape and structure to the overall tourism sector, keeping in mind the current situation that is there in the overall sector. Now, what we see is that things are happening in tourism. A lot of things are happening, but then this not happening in a systematic and structured manner. And the policy is basically meant to give a complete shape to the entire process in which we want the tourism sector to grow. And therefore, we have realized that we need to look at aspects of, say, for example, sustainability. We are seeing that in many parts of the world where we want sustainable tourism to be there are certain guidelines as to how people can visit or should visit certain locations. So, for example, in the Living Root Bridge, is it good to have 1,000 people standing on the bridge every day, or should it be controlled in some manner? So, therefore, the policy will then define and look into these aspects on how to ensure that the sustainability of these kind of aspects. What I told you is just one part of it, but I'm just giving an example. There's going to be many aspects to it. So how do we make it sustainable, and how do we make it a responsible tourism? How do we ensure that employment generation and entrepreneurship is achieved? How do we ensure that the local people are involved in the entire process? How do community participate in this aspect? How will the use of technology be to ensure that we're able to promote tourism in the best manner? And also how the different departments will work together to ensure that at the end we are able to really synergize between the different departments and get the maximum output when it comes to the tourism sector in terms of livelihood and in terms of sustainability and all the other aspects that I have mentioned. So this is what this basic tourism policy looks into. And of course, to achieve these ideas and these goals that we have, certain areas will have to be focused on. So, for example, we need to focus on creating the right infrastructure in many areas. That means rooms, that means roads, that means public facilities and utilities, so on and so forth. We need to also ensure that we're able to create better circuits, and we're able to improve the overall capacity of the people who are involved in the tourism sector. Say, for example, the drivers who are driving the taxis, or the guides who are guiding the tourist. Shouldn't we have a proper training program for them? Should we have a proper mechanism in which they are certified, maybe, and how they should be interacting with the tourist? So these capacity building aspects need to be looked at. We also need to see how we'll promote tourism as a whole, what kind of programs to have, how to do the marketing and branding, how to see that we'll be looking at the safety of tourists, how to ensure that tourists are safe when they come here, how community can participate in this whole thing. So all these aspects are there. For example, we also don't have certifications, we don't have standards. So, for example, a particular, say, a homestay, if it's certified by, say, the government of Meghalaya or by the tourism sector, the tourism directorate, it will ensure that it builds up the confidence among the tourists also to stay in those locations. So these kind of aspects of branding, certification, and regulations, these are all areas, and the areas I mentioned before also. These are the things that will be covered in this tourism in policy. And as I said, the idea is to really give it a proper shape and ensure that we structure the entire sector in the process in which we move forward.
Hagawe Patkaliang Menteri Rangba Ulong Bagajing Wanra Ek State Organic and Natural Farming Policy kalong nagajing temu ban peniat bed peniat renti ki kam ki jam kajing ai ki certificate ki senjam ki beri ban shim ban la ban peniat cekamat ya ka organic mission. Ulong wala kadan gajing persang ban kentiau ya karep karyang klem dapenon kam ki dawai. Nrai kalong ka badan kampat ban doni kerukom Treikam ka bapaka. Bat kamat Treikam neka polisi ka badai hakarukom ka balapan wandur bha. Kekenhuan kemenai ki sertifikat ki program waper komta ada kejing don ikan ke polisi kan penolong ya kerukom Treikam ke bapura kumno beniat cekmat ha ke bede bat ke organic mission bat kejing rap ki jing thung jing tap klem da pendan kam ya ki dawai.
The idea was that though there is effort towards going to organic farming, but a proper structured system, policy, certification agencies, different kind of programs, policies to be made and done, and actions to be taken were not really properly organized and properly put into a policy. So therefore, this particular policy will give a complete structure to how we would move forward in terms of our organic mission and in terms of organic farming in the state. It's not as simple as saying that today we are using fertilizers and tomorrow we just stop it and we're going to shift to organic farming in one go. Everything has to be in a transition format. And therefore, the livelihood of people and especially in the vegetable growing section, we have seen that chemical fertilizers are still being used, and it is required in some areas, and it is taking time for the organic fertilizers to really have that kind of impact. So yes, if we are saying that it's going to be black and white and we're going to completely shift to organic tomorrow, that's not going to happen. It takes time. It's a process. We need to continue to ensure that the people are taken on board. We need to ensure that people are given the options and given the alternative to move forward. And that's what this organic mission is, not organic mission, but the policy, I'm sorry. The policy is what it intends to do, is to shift towards this, and slowly and steadily we will see that most of, number one, the areas which are not using chemical fertilizers that much, at least they will be then getting incentives or structures or systems to move into organic farming and get the support that they want to do. Then of course there are areas which are using them. Then we will work towards how we'll see that we will slowly shift them from say chemical fertilizers to say organic fertilizers. But as I said, for us to do that, we also have to keep in mind that there are people who depend on this chemical fertilizers. There are vegetables that need this, and hence for us to completely cut it off and say we will not do it from tomorrow would not be just, and would require us to really consider the livelihood of the people. And that's why it's a process, but we are moving towards that.
Hagabede bat ke Meghalaya advertisement policy arhajar arpulai. Nagaliang Menteri Ketenaga Information bat Public Relations u James PK Sangma. Ulong namar ke jingbam dan ke mat Treikam keladon ke jingbam syai ke bedai bat ke advertisement. Kumta nagbenta kilat pathai kubor bat kelami ru ke jingslam hagaban pelat ke jingsio. Ulong balapan wandore ke polisi hadian ke jingatai sani bah bat baro ke bedan benta bat kumta ke kenhuan menteri kelai ke jing Mynjur ya ke polisi.
The Directorate of Information and Public Relations will henceforth be the nodal agency for the issuance of government advertisements and other agencies to impanel the print and media houses, print electronic media houses. We have also, under this policy, classified the various segments of media that is available, that is print, electronic media, online media, in terms of online news portals. Then we have also set the terms and conditions for empanelment, which are also included for print, electronic media, online news portals. Applications for empanelment with the government are to be submitted by the publishers or producers concerned in a prescribed form, which will be spelled out in the policy. The advertisement policy is also, spelling out the constitution of a state level empanelment committee consisting of members from various departments, which will also include representatives from AIR, that's All India Radio, from DDK, representatives from the districts, that is the deputy commissioners, the DIPR, and also the PIB. The terms of reference for the empanelment committee, which is also being spelled out in this advertisement policy, would be to examine, scrutinize, and then accord approval for applications referred by the DIPR.
Menteri Rangba uloong ba ka Drug Reduction Elimination and Action Mission ne ka Dream kadai ka mission ban penti kena bayau drugs dai ban Pynduhjait no haka Jylla dai ka bayat bat chem ki senjam boper. Uloong ba ka thong jong Sorkar Jylla kalong ban penti kena bayau no jingdi Pynduhjait baru jingdi ubas neo de ban yat akata kalenti bat dai ka badan ne ka mission bat dai ka badan ne ka jing Treikam padang kitanat boper. Menteri Rangba udah benaru ia ketup kerteng jeng kibayok pediang ya ke Meghalaya Day Award ia berkentup i kong Switi Monrenja ia banyok pediang ya ke Tirot Singh Award hak Arts and Literature i Dr. Jennifer Basayomot ya ke Patugan Sangma hak Social Service bat uke marak ya ke Kyang Nangba Award hak Kamel Akai.
The Drug Reduction and Elimination and Action Mission, which is a dream mission, which is again a goal and target by the government to ensure that this particular aspect of substance abuse is taken up in a much more structured manner and in a mission mode manner. And hence, this will be worked by taking all different departments into confidence and different aspects of rehabilitation centers, of giving counseling, along with working with the police department on how to ensure that the inflow is contained, and all other aspects that are to do with substance abuse have been worked out in detail in this mission mode program. And the objective, of course, is to make Meghalaya drug free.